People don't realize how inspiring your story is. People don't see where you've come and what you've done and what's possible. We all tend to think that of people in the position they are, and we don't see the struggle. We don't see the challenge. Did you ever think, did you ever even dream that one day you would be one of the foremost authorities in this country?
Never. Especially when I was a Surgeon General that followed Dr. Koop. How can you follow your boss? Unheard of. In my dreams. In my dreams. Would I ever thought of being Dr. Koop? Are you out of your mind? But there it was. And as a matter of fact, I remember when the tobacco company says she has no problems with us. She's going to be okay. Until I got rid of old Joe, and then they realized that they chose the wrong person. I always believe that the war is won with the element of surprise, and that was a shock.
Where did this come from, this desire to make a difference? It's almost that you felt a passion and a responsibility to become a fighter for people.
Comes with a job. That and becoming a role model, you cannot escape it, but you're not prepared for it. So you really make sure that you watch what you do and what you say, because you're being observed, but there's a generation behind that you have to defend, so that if you're bad, they are bad. If you are good, they are good. And therefore you are very sensitive to your position, especially being the first woman ever and the first Hispanic ever in that position. It put quite a shoulder of 59 million people right here.
How proud are you of both of those things?
Very much so, very much so. It seems to me that bringing the minority aspect, we are now 7 surviving Surgeon Generals in 100 years. 4 are African American, 1 is Indian, and 2 are Latinos. To bring out the culture of what it was going to be the biggest ethnic group in the year 2060, 119 million. Today, 59 million. I think it's extremely important to have a spokesperson indirectly that puts it out there for the reality of the moment, and especially the cultural aspects. Since all the minorities in a way are in a disadvantaged position for health and wealth, it's very important that at least you follow my customs so that you can take care of me better. So when you have a spokesperson that brings it, has lived it, it creates more credibility than just reading about it.
So look at all the changes that you've seen and you've helped create in culture and in gender and in diversity. And now we're looking at yet another change, a change in aging, a change in the way we age. What do you want to see?
Well, the first thing I want to see is a Surgeon General report on aging, because it sets the tone that there is a topic of importance and then it's studied in intensity. And so with the repercussions of it might come changes in healthcare, changes in funding, and changes in acceptance. Because I tend to believe that we have a lot of bias in aging, a lot of bias. Fragile, weak, can't sit, can't stand, and it seems to me that the American culture has to change. Because whether we want it or not, by 2060, this country is going to be old. And by 2030, all the baby boomers will be 65. So whether you like it or not, you have to change the economy, the workforce, and the social networks will have to change to accommodate people that you never dreamed they existed, but they are the majority.
So then we start saying, well, whose problem is that? Is that a governmental problem? Is that a national problem? Is it an individual's responsibility?
I think it's a mixture of all. It's a mixture of all. Because when you have all these old people, according to the tradition, coming into life as the majority, if you devoid the elder part of it, you realize that in the workforce, 70 million of us wants to work, even over the age of 65. 29% have a bachelor's degree, 83% have a high school degree, and they give to the economy at least $7 trillion. So we're not this invisible generation. What we need is a spokesperson that gives us back the respect that we deserve, that somewhere along the way got lost. So that's one thing. The economy will have to change, and it will change. And in some states, it has been suggested that when you have people over 60 years of age, at least 10% of them, the economy drops by 5.5%. So there are losses. Why? Because there's going to be a demographic change in the United States in 2060. 70% of the people will be those age group that will be retired. So they will have to be maintained by the ones that work. And when the ones that work are younger, we have to make sure that they understand that by 72 million of us voting, we do not want to change just our livelihood. We want to also help them to change theirs, because their children will be my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, depending on the age. So, but I'm worried about when that change comes, that we will be able to be worried about the Social Security, and we will be able to be worried about the Medicare. And if that's the case, that people who work will be the ones who will decide what will happen. So do I drop the services, or do I increase the taxes? That is something that will have to be dealt with, because aging will bring more cost to the healthcare system if we do not start using prevention right now for us. And if that's the case, we now are what, $4 trillion? It will be 6 trillions, and it will be almost 19.5 of the gross national product. And if that's the case, we have to start planning for that. So preventing what is coming in the future is going to be great. So for us in aging, that are aging, I want to be able to age well while being taken care of well. And if that's the case, you have to help us in the biggest problem we have now, basically, which is dementia, which is loneliness, which is falling, which is basically Alzheimer's, and it's basically the situation of the American tradition. My child is mine until 18, and then I let them go. So when I need them, I might not have them. And if that's the case, then comes the loneliness. And remember, loneliness is totally different from being alone. When I don't have able to communicate, when I don't have relationships, when my wife dies, when I have no transportation, when I'm sick, when I have no money, when I basically have things that I took for granted all my life, then that impedes me to communicate. And if that's the case, we cannot treat every lonely person the same way that we treat any disease, because it depends what kind of loneliness I have. Do I have the social one, that my friends do not come to visit me because I become cantankerous, according to them? And maybe I'm cantankerous and I'm rejecting your presence because I fear for being the same when I grow your age. Is it the collective one that I feel that I'm not valued by my community? Or it might be the one that basically is the ephemeral, the ethereal one, in where I basically feel I don't count. So not every loneliness is the same, and you have to treat them accordingly. So I always say, as a physician, observe, listen. Are they lonely because they're incontinent? Are they lonely because they don't have a hearing aid? Are they lonely because they have glaucoma and they cannot relate visually? Are they lonely because they want to be alone? So old people don't like to be bothered because they don't really think that you care. Old people assume that you want to visit them once, bring them the food, and then it was nice meeting you. That they resent. So then they go deeper into their solitude. And if that's the case, then you're going to help. Visit me more than once. Don't give me an emoji, send me something by social media. Give me a hug. Even if you see that I'm rejected, that rejection is because I don't know if it's once or is it going to be for a long time. Learn to know my customs, my values, and what my expectations are. Unless you know them, you're not going to help me with my loneliness. And my fear is that the lonelier I come, my mortality is more feasible. So if that's the case, my mortality might increase by 26%. And if it's not taken care of, then I will have my dementia, my depression, and eventually suicide. How many people kill themselves out of loneliness? And if that's so, that steep curve, we have to really go into it before we go at the end, for multitudes of us, and some of us thinking that nobody cares. So that's why I think it's going to be good for us to think of how can we bring the lonely together with others that might not even know that they can be helpful. And in that case, I'm very, very sensitive now to this issue of building communities where we age in place, accompanied by people that feel like me, in the age group that I feel more comfortable communicating, and that I am well while I'm being taken care of. That might be the future, especially when the baby boomers come after 2030, and 65 years old is going to be the norm of this country. So looking into that is going to be crucial, knowing that accompanied by the aging, we will have at least 50% of us will have at least 2 chronic conditions. And as I said before, we visit once a month a doctor when we're 65, and 80% of us at least once a year. But there's a lot of bias, and it has been found that 43% of the time I go to the doctor, he or she assumes that it's my aging that is the problem. And then 9% will not see me because I'm old. So that bias is really making sure that I don't go to you. But then as a physician, you find that you change doctors constantly, so I figure by the time you come back, you basically don't care, and I have to start anew. Another thing that I think is really hampering that connection is, I don't think that cognitive inability is something that we can trace in a patient. We might only have 7 minutes to see you. And the electronic medical records are there for me trying to get all the information while you're back. My back is to you. So that relationship with the new medicine is being interfered. And when doctors are being asked, what are your most disappointing moment in your career of the contemporary, is the lack of connection with my patient and the hate they have for the technology that keeps them away. So we have to do something about it if we're going to do that. And then my worry is, with the new trend of the new doctor that is coming, which are the millennials, they are very sensitive to the interaction with the patients. But because they're also so technologically savvy, chances are that in 2028, our visiting room will be empty because I can communicate with you by telemedicine, telecommunication, by web. Wonderful. However, where is that touch? Where is that interaction? Whether it's that I know your name. We physicians might be able to diagnose you from the moment you walk in, by the way you walk, by the way you smile, by the way you talk. That will be lacking, and God forbid that the image freezes when you're doing telemedicine. So that aspect of medicine in where you're a human, I'm a human, and I will feel your pain directly and truly, we might be wasting it. And if that's the case, I sometimes worry that we might become technicos in medicine rather than caregivers. We are more a provider of services than a true physician. And that also worries me tremendously of the future of medicine.
And one of the things that we need as well are examples. And you are an incredible example of someone, as we are aging into this demographic, of showing you are as fierce as you've ever been. I don't see cognitive decline. I don't see confusion. I don't see a lack of wisdom, direction, ideals, goals. These are against stereotypes.
I know. And I have the feeling television and the movies and the media do not depict the oldest people as able, as strong, as capable. And therefore, I've never seen a movie in where I see somebody really strong, really setting the tone, and so retirement might be something that they feel that with their retirement, so did my brain. And therefore, I find people speaking to me loud. I find people trying to help me sit. I have people trying to guide my steps, and I figure I'm capable. And so I am become very selective, and in becoming very selective, I might become very lonely, because my assertiveness might be something that keeps me away from communicating with my peers, because they want to help me, but I figure I'm still able to do what I need to do to be able to survive. And if that's the case, indirectly, we, the elder, might be able to keep people that want to care for us apart by trying to establish my own last rights of independence.
It's like age becomes very isolating.
Very isolating because of the way that it has been thought about. One of the governors in Puerto Rico used to say, I'm not old, I'm a young person full of years. And maybe the time has come to change the name of senior, of elder, something that is more encompassing. And one of the things that I hate the most is this issue of the silent generation. I cannot be silent when 72 million of us vote, when we have college degrees, when we give $7 trillion to this economy, and we try to be healthy, and 70 million of us went to work after the age of 65. How dare you call me silent? So if we do what the people believe, then we're helping them win the war. And if that's the case, we really have to be more active, especially when 2060 will be the norm, not what is now waiting for the baby boomers to be part of us.
So we have to become outspoken,
We have
older
to be
Americans.
outspoken, and with facts, never with opinions. It's extremely important that we have the facts to back up what we say. And in that case, I think talks are going to be crucial. Interactions are going to be crucial. Working with government so that they realize what's happening, because not everybody that works in government is a person of experience, especially every 4 years.
Yeah.
You don't have the best in our group to come and speak for us. So even they have to be trained of what we are, not just relating to your parents that you recognize and that you might only see them in Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yeah.
but in us, in your life, making it better. So I figure that healthcare will have to change. The housing will have to change. The sidewalks will have to change. The transportation will have to change. And now we're just holding back on that, just a few. But eventually it has to be the norm. And if that's the norm, we have to really remind them that why prepare in 2060 when we have almost 40 years to get there? Do it slowly. We're aging. By 2030, already you have 8,000 of us
Yeah.
become old every single year until we get to 2030, and the baby boomers will be the ones. Now with the baby boomers, remember, they have the lowest retirement as of today. And if that's the case, caregiving will be something that they will have to pay for it. When now in my generation, family members, particularly women, are taking care of my family so they stay at home. But by the year 2030, there will be only 4 caregivers for each one of us. And if that's the case, we might have to pay for it. And if we have to have skilled nursing doing that, rather than a woman losing her job, losing her youth, losing her years of life, 11.5 years, we will have to pay close to $642 billion for what we now take for granted that comes from a woman taking care of a family member until they die. And then we forget that they need care as much as the person they are caring for,
Right.
specifically when they watch their deterioration. And if that's the case, a little bit of respite care to get them a little break is not bad from all of us, remembering that they're employed women, that they have earned a salary, and that they lose all the experience of their life taking care of somebody else more than themselves.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, we have to give more respect to the caregiver than we give today.
You touched on everything. You touched on, I mean, there's so many different aspects of it. It's fantastic. Don't stop.
I won't.
Don't stop shouting.
I won't.
And you're right, we do need to be more vocal.
Vocal.